S-D-P-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
It's a nice getup you got there.
Huh?
Nice little ensemble.
What are you talking about?
I mean, it's this cool starter jacket. If you're listening to this show, Steve is wearing one of those '90s starters jackets
Oh, thanks, man.
with a
Stand up one more time.
with what Americans call a beanie, but the correct name for it is a toque. Ah, there it is. And there's that Steve Dangle booty, which we're all really here for that.
It's a good fit.
Steve, how did you get all this San Jose Sharks gear living in Ajax?
Well, I bought it like anyone else, didn't you?
Steve,
Yeah.
we all know that you're still wearing the clothes that Nike bought you from 15 years ago.
Hey, it's like 14.
14,
Yeah, pretty
15
close
years
to
ago.
15. Listen, first of all, it's actually much harder to hear with this toucan.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I just want to shout out Jonathan Betcher, the president of my San Jose Sharks until January 6th and 9th. And then after that, my San Jose Sharks for shouting out and showing love to someone who has always been the biggest Sharks truther in the National Hockey League. Because, listen, my San Jose Sharks did not start the season well.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. It was well documented. It was televised even.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, Adam, didn't I tell you not to touch it because the plate is hot? The San Jose Sharks, except for last night, they've been great. They've been on one. Our captain, Logan Couture, is nearing return. We're doing great. Sharks truther Steve Dangle in the building and warmer and more stylish than ever before. I'm taking the toque off.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Now read the note.
So I can hear. Oh, yeah, so
I kept waiting for him to get to the note, and I'm like, he didn't get to the note.
give me a cue.
The hot's like the hat is hot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. That's how I would feel if I was wearing
burning.
a hat.
because I got a warm head. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was actually the first line of the letter.
The cue
No.
is
It's on official San Jose Sharks letterhead. Steve! He knows my name. Welcome to Team Teal. Sharks territory is everywhere. So we thought you should represent. We'll be listening. ... Somewhat ominous. Teal together, Jonathan Betcher.
and Jonathan is the president of the Sharks.
The president of the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
And also underneath this starter jacket.
What do you got?
Oh, this is buttoned up. Sorry. I obviously just threw this on over my head like a moron.
Uh-huh.
I got a starter shirt.
Hey, there
Hey,
you go.
cool.
I got the full outfit.
Are you going to wear that the whole show, though? Or are you going to be a little hot?
No, you'd
You'll
be a
survive.
little hot.
Okay, all right.
You'll be good.
Adam burns like a furnace. That's why he wears a t-shirt every show. And you got Jesse and I over here like, all right, Adam, what do you want to talk about next, man?
Keep it quite cold in the studio, but that's how you have to have studios,
Studios
with all
need
the
to be
gear
cold.
and the lights that shine very
Cold
bright.
is funny.
Yes, that's right. Also,
I'm sorry for your Sharks, though, last night.
yeah.
Well,
They allow Dave Rittich to pick up his first win of the season in his first start. 15 saves on 16 shots. Then they
Yeah.
lost to the Kings in the Battle of California.
big save it David. He does sometimes save it the day for them. And,
Kings looking good.
King's looking good, but that's okay. What is it? Objects in the rear view mirror are closer than they appear. And here they. Oh, Jesse. No.
Yeah.
You hear that?
I'm going to not tell you to look at the standings.
No. Here they come.
They're coming.
The truth is out there,
They've been
Jesse.
playing real well.
It's in the ocean.
Also want to let you know that the Steve Dangle Podcast is taking over. We haven't worked out a takeover with the Sharks yet, although we'd love to.
Not
That'd
yet.
be cool as
That would
hell.
be cool.
We were invited to the game. It's just that little matter of the flight to California.
Yeah, I hear those are not cheap.
No.
The Kingston Frontenacs and Steve Dangle Podcast are teaming up for Steve Dangle Podcast Night, January 21st. You get to see the game. You get to eat, and you get to watch the show, all for $50. Go to KingstonFrontenacs.com. And also look up the menu at the Merchant Tap House. I don't know, do you guys go to a restaurant and like to be surprised by the menu, or do you like to know beforehand?
Ooh.
Because my wife Natalie won't go to a restaurant without looking at the menu first. She
Gabby's
wants to
the
know what she's
exact
ordering.
same way, and it's not even like I need to look at the menu. She needs to do it for like an hour, and like decide
Analyze.
and know every single meal. And this is the one I'm getting. And you show up. Maddie's the same
Mad
way.
Dog's the same?
Maddie, you need to look at the menu and everything.
I'm the most indecisive person ever. So I need to look at the menu. I need to look at everything. I want to know if I want to split some apps with someone. I want to know if I want
Wow.
to.
Yeah, I need to be
Mad
dropped
Dog.
into the moment and go, what do you want now?
That's not going to get a woo out of me. That's going to get a her. No.
Well, sometimes it's a grr.
You don't always gotta do the dog noise.
because it's Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. By the way, the reason we call Maddie Mad Dog is
She hates it.
we tried to write Maddie once and it turned into Mad Dog, and now it's like it was like an Apple autocorrect.
Who did it the first time?
I think it was Chris Johnston in the
The
one.
CJ.
Yes, it was Chris.
CJ.
On my birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a happy birthday. Everyone was saying happy birthday, Maddie. There's like happy birthday, Mad Dog. and now we just call it Mad Dog.
Naturally, we all just went,
Oh,
The food thing is like that's a little intense.
it is intense. I just
Listen,
want to be dropped
I'm with
in.
Gabby and Natalie. all
Yeah,
day.
no.
So go to the Merchant Tap House so you can check out their menu there and pick beforehand, or just come and hang out and feel like what you're feeling that night. All right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about goals that go in off of defensemen.
Son of a gun. It's both of my teams had bad luck yesterday.
They did, and actually the Senators did too. One went off Chikrin. Did you see that one?
well, they're not.
Your third team.
Your third team, the
Ottawa
Senators,
Senators.
who won the August Cup, but the June Cup's looking a little shaky.
Yeah.
What happened in August, Adam?
They won the cup.
Who?
The Senators.
No way.
They did. Yeah, they did. It was crazy. We were all there.
Yeah.
I can't believe you can't remember it.
But if these 7 or 8 things did or didn't go their way, they'd be in the playoffs.
I know which core I'd want.
Yeah?
I know which core that I'd be. That's going to be better.
They blew a 3-goal lead with your new coach behind the bench.
That's right.
Not great.
I do
great.
like Mark Mathot. He seems to have a really good sense of humor. Jumping on Twitter, and because he said in 2021 that he thought the Sens core would be way better than the Leafs core by this year, and he was like, bad.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Daniel Alfredson has been behind the bench for 2 games for the Sens.
One in Sweden, one in North America.
And they've blown a 3 and 4 goal lead.
Was that the Sweden game?
It was 4-0 in Sweden.
Wow.
Detroit erased it. That was the Stützle baseball swing in overtime with
Yes.
2 minutes or 2 seconds left. So they ended up winning. So all is forgiven. No one cares. But they did blow a 4-goal lead.
That was
And
the James Reimer duck.
which in person, I had a view of it and we were all like, did he? And then we saw the replay and we were like, he did. So yeah, they blew a 4-0 lead and a 3-0 lead with Halfie behind the bench.
Wow.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Not great.
The Leafs had 3 of their 4 goals go in off of their own defenseman, I believe, last night. One of the only goal that I think Martin Jones probably should have had.
Was the only shot that beat him.
That's right. and it really was. It was a good rush by the Rangers player. I forget his name at the moment.
Braden Schneider.
There you go. But it goes in through the 5-hole, and you're like, I probably should have had that one. I'm sorry. I'm not like everybody else that gives a goalie a pass on everything. That he should have had that. You need that save.
By his own admission,
Yeah,
you
need that save. But I've liked Martin Jones.
You know what he
I never thought I'd say that. I've really liked Martin Jones.
You know what he seems? Relaxed. He's very relaxed. And I love Sammy. Everything he does just emits stress
Feels jumpy.
right now. Yeah, it everything feels panicked. His movements are way too like Jones. You know what I like the most about Jones? He stands in his net. Mm-hmm. He just stays in the crease. You know why? If you're a goaltender, tend the goal. Like Jones has actually been a calming presence back there. Although last night while on the phone with Jesse, we discovered one of the most mind-melting stats I've ever seen. So Jones was in the middle of playing a very good game when we were on the phone. Mm-hmm. And I looked at his season last year. Mm-hmm. He had an .887 save percentage, but a record of 27-13-3. That doesn't make sense. I believe Philip Grubauer had a better save percentage by a pretty wide margin.
Yes.
But
not the wide. He was still under 900.
Yeah, maybe not wide margin, but 887 to 895. 895 feels a lot closer to league average than 887.
Yep.
He was last year.
I know it's not a huge difference.
Last year he was at 895.
And what was his record?
17, 14, and 4.
So above Bettman 500, but below real 500. He lost 18 games and won 17. Jones was 27, 13, and 3. And I said to Jesse, there's got to be something to that. Like, surely that's a record.
Yep.
For having a save percentage that bad and having that many wins. And I looked it up, and turns out I was actually kind of right. Since the 2000-2001 season, no goalie in the NHL has had a single season save percentage of 888 or lower and won more games than Martin Jones.
Huh?
He won 27. You have to go all the way back to the 95-96 season.
Who was the name?
Bill Ranford.
Wow.
He had 34 wins with a save percentage of, I think it was 887. And that was 95-96, if you look at the numbers, was still juiced. And right after that, 1 or 2 seasons after that, the dead puck era comes roaring in, like real fast. But 95-96 was still high flying. Goal scoring is back up at around the 80s-ish pace. So it sort of makes sense. But what were the Kraken on where they won 27 games getting sub 888 goaltending?
And it wasn't just him, by the way.
No. Grubauer was also bad, but they couldn't win games with Grubauer in net. They could win with Jones in net. Explain.
It's weird.
They could win with Jones in net, stopping a smaller percentage of the pucks. Explain. Like, over a ridiculous sample size for both goalies. Mm-hmm. Explain. Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
Did you get some answers from Kraken fans when you tweeted that out?
I did not.
No. Okay.
I did not. But Kraken fans, please respond to this video or, just tweet at us or email us, whatever. What's up with that? Why? Why did Jones have 10 more wins than Grubauer despite not saving as many pucks?
That's a good question.
I don't get it.
Well, and so I think what we've seen with Martin Jones so far in Toronto is a stabilizing veteran effect. And I'll be honest with you, like, I have not been a Martin Jones fan since he was probably just getting into San Jose. He had a good couple of years there. And when the Leafs signed him this summer, I was like, well, I hope he doesn't have to play too much. And he's been
straight up the starter.
Right now he is.
He's the starter.
Until Wool's back. And he seems calm. And it makes me wonder, when Wool does come back, I know Sammy's got the contract, but if he hasn't turned it around in the next, I guess, 4 more weeks that Wool's out, is Sammy the one sitting in the press box?
No, I think they find a home for him. There's got to be a deal there. Like, maybe.
Oh, you would trade him? See, I think they go into the playoffs with all 3 of those guys.
I mean, it'd be nice to have all 3, but can they afford it?
Yeah, you'd lose them on waivers, would you not?
Well, you're gonna.
You definitely lose them on waivers. You don't do that.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
So you got to find a way to get some assets back for that.
I mean, you won a playoff series with this goalie. No one can say they won a playoff series with the Leafs since Ed Belfour, who has been retired quite some time. Whatever they got to do to get him back on track. If that is not playing games, do it. Do it. There's a goalie there. We know there's a goalie there.
He's got talent.
We got to find
No
him.
question. No question. It seems to be between the ears for Sammy. And you know what? One of the things that plays a part in this, and people will scoff and laugh, but having a new kid, which he does, does interrupt things. It interrupts your flow, and athletes are very, routine driven, and they like their sleep, and they like to do this and they like to do that. When you've got a kid at home, it's not about you anymore. It's not about the routine that you feel that you want to be in. The kid's like, this is what I feel right now, and I'm going to scream about it. And maybe that's a part of it too. And I don't mean to be like, well, you shouldn't have kids as an athlete, but yeah, I can throw you off. Absolutely.
Can I give you a stat? This is how mind-bending Martin Jones is. I don't understand this goaltender.
Okay.
Jack Campbell in the American Hockey League this year has a record of 4-6 with an 888 save percentage. That's terrible. Martin Jones has a 2-1-1 record with an 870.
That's bonkers.
What?
That is bonkers.
Why does he win? How does this goalie win games? There's got to be something there where his size or positioning and guys just aren't taking shots they would take on other goalies. Please, someone explain. Or is it just pure luck? Please, someone explain.
Yep.
Maybe he plays to the score. So if it's like a 4-goal game, like he has 4 goals for his team, he's like, I can allow 3.
Well, he allowed a grand total of 1 bad goal last night, and it was the game-winning goal. So I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, like, maybe the larger sample size is like, oh, they scored 7, I'm going to allow 6. And
The Grant Fuhrer strategy.
Yeah.
He did it on purpose, you see.
Yeah, of course. That's how it went. I think it's a nice story. It's a good story. You gotta enjoy that story, right? You gotta, as a Leaf fan, you gotta be like, man, this is awesome that we have goaltending depth and the Hildebeest waiting in the wings in the AHL, right?
Yes, Dennis Hildeby.
I can look it up.
Yeah, Adam's looking it up. This dude, first of all, I think he might be the biggest person to ever play for the Leafs organization. Or when he plays a game in the NHL, he'll be the biggest person to ever play for the Leafs organization. They have had 6'8" guys like on the Marlies and on the Growlers, maybe even not 6'9", 6'7" and 6'8". But Dennis Hildeby, if he makes the Leafs, he'll be, I think, the first 6'7" player.
Yeah, he's 6'7", 220, 22 years old.
That's a big boy.
It's a big boy. And
What are his stats?
his stats with the Marlies this year are pretty good. 6-3-2. The Marlies are okay.
Yeah.
But his goaltending stats, like his save percentage right now, is a 929.
Damn.
The gap between Martin
His
Jones
goals
is
against average,
Yeah.
and I know we don't like that stat as much,
No, it's not good.
1.82.
Like if you score, that means if you score 2 goals, you're more likely to win the game than not. Martin Jones is an 870 on the same team, still above 500, and Hildeby is a 929.
If I'm looking at this from Leafs management's perspective, if Ilya comes back and starts playing better, and then Joe Woll comes back and the high ankle sprain isn't deterring him, because like if you're the Leafs management right now, you are not rushing Joseph Woll back. You're letting him go as long as he needs to go, because
They prepared for this.
They prepared
Good
for this,
them.
and we've seen them scramble in years before for shit that they didn't prepare for.
Michael Hutchinson.
Matthew Nyes last year.
Shit.
Think about that. But I think that they're okay with this. And if you lose one of those 2 guys, if you lose Sammy, you lose Martin Jones or whatever it is in a trade, Dennis Hildeby's having a great year. He's had, in 21-22 with Farjestad, he had a great record. Last year, he split time between the Marlies and Farjestad, and both. Well, the Marlies record isn't great, but the Farjestad stats are crazy. And then this year, he's been amazing with the Marlies. So I don't think, much like Joseph Woll last year, especially at 22 years old, are you afraid to bring him up for a couple of games should you need him? I don't think so.
No, it's
you don't want to, but I'm
you-
just saying, like, you are dealing from a position of strength here.
To me, you need to be forced into it. You don't call him up to give him a shot. You call him up because you have no other choice.
That's right.
You have no other choice. Someone's injured. But I'd be comfortable with having a gander.
Why not? Well, a couple games? Why not?
How old is he?
He's 22. So he was
a little young.
he's definitely young, but he was drafted. I want to know who in Kyle Dubas's Leafs regime was the guy who was like, I want to draft 20-year-old Dennis Hildeby. I'm pretty sure he was 20 when they picked
He
him.
got drafted.
Yeah, so that's overager, I think, times 2. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the first player drafted in, I think it was 2021. I think it was the Montreal draft where all the phones went out. I think he was the first player drafted from that draft to sign an NHL deal. They wanted this guy.
Wow.
They wanted him. And they wanted to get him to North America as fast as possible. Took a couple years. Here he is, and he's playing great. I'm excited for the Hildebeest.
Me too. It's going to be great. Now, with the Leafs, obviously the Rangers, get their revenge. The Leafs embarrassed them at home. The Rangers get a win at on the Leafs home ice. I don't think it was an embarrassing win, but it was a win. and I'm sure that felt good for them. CJ did tweet this yesterday. Austin Matthews casually has 11 goals in his last 7 games.
He has 9 multi-goal games this season.
He is on pace for 67. Yes, that's right. 67 goals this year.
But you know what? It's not. Last year, the way he was getting goals, we're like, those are playoff style goals. He's tipping them in and he's banging them in and brr. This dude's scoring Austin Matthews goals. He is ripping them. And he's finding the open ice, which he seemed to really struggle to do at times last year and the beginning of this year. And his shot is as good as it's ever been. I don't expect him to score at over a goal a game forever, but he is ripping the biscuit.
The first one he scored was really nice, where he shot it from like behind him and he kind of just wired it, and it went over Shesterkin's shoulder there.
What do you do? Yeah. Like as a goalie, what do you do? There's no wind up. There's no nothing. It's just
immediate. The
puck touches his stick and flings away like it's got a negative magnetic pull. Like what are you supposed to do about that? How do you prepare for that shot?
And I think this is the way he started this year. It's even more evident to me, and I think it should be to Leafs fans, that he was not completely healthy last year. And he was clearly playing with a bit of an injury. And when you get off to a slow start and there's a bit of an injury and you don't have your full offseason to train, it really affects your game. And it clearly affected him for the majority of last season. And this year, we get a fully healthy Austin Matthews who had a full training camp, a full summer to prepare, and now he's on pace for 67 goals.
That's so silly.
Yeah.
That is so silly, man. 67.
Molly Walker had a really great article. She's a Post reporter for New York Post reporter for the Rangers. And she talked to Jimmy Vesey about his time in Toronto. And I don't know if you saw this quote, but
I sure did.
There was an episode, and we talked about this with our, the Amazon doc, where it's in episode 2. Sheldon Keefe takes Jimmy Vesey aside and says, I want to be sure that you know that it's been very vanilla, as in his play. Vesey responded by saying he felt like Keefe was telling him that he didn't know or didn't like his game, and as a result, he'd be out soon. And he was waived by the end of that episode. Now, it apparently got so bad for Jimmy that he was just going to go to Europe, but it was the Devils that extended a PTO, and he's been able to turn around his career since. What was very interesting, though...
He's been great on the Rangers, yeah.
Back on the Rangers, because he was good the first time on the Rangers. Keefe was asked about Vesey during his post-game press conference, and he said, "Are we done?"
Oh, you know what?
That was over a year ago. That was over a year ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that wasn't last.
Oh, that wasn't last night.
No.
But the quote the quote that I thought you'd find interesting is what Vesey had to say about the way he was portrayed, because he said, "I haven't watched it, but I don't think I should have been featured as prominently as I was."
That means you watched it.
From what I heard, Vesey said, in a documentary about a team that lost in the first round of the playoffs, and I wasn't there for it. I think they had the final say on what went in, and sometimes you have to point the arrow somewhere other than yourself.
You know what? That's salty as hell, but Leaf fans aren't going to want to hear this. I understand. He's right.
See, I don't think he is.
Why?
Because I think if you've watched any of the other Amazon documentaries, because they do this with other teams, right? In hockey, we have this insular thing. Well, they've only done it about us. They've done this with like Juventus. And what they do is they talk about the team and its movement throughout the year.
Yes.
Jimmy Vesey was brought in to score 20 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
On the second line.
So
it was
a story. Yeah. It was a story when he didn't work out. So I understand why Jimmy's saying that. I understand why he's hurt by it. But it was the second episode of like an 8-part series. And he was out early, and that is a story.
Let me correct myself then. He's right for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Because he's making it sound like, well, that just shouldn't have been in there. It should have been in there.
Needs to be in there.
It needs to be in there 100%. The observation I have made several times since that documentary came out is Jimmy Vesey got a raw deal compared to the other guys on that team. The Leafs and the people who edited that documentary protected guys who stayed on the Toronto Maple Leafs after the 2021 bubble season.
Yeah.
We know there was stuff cut from that documentary that did not
make them look good.
Make certain players look good at all.
Not just players, management too.
Management too didn't make them look good. There's stuff that was left in, like I think Sheldon Keefe telling the goalie coach to fuck off was pretty funny.
Dubas after going to Shanahan to get the approval for a trade.
For Foligno.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That didn't look good on either of them, frankly. But like the goalie coach was also gone shortly after. Jimmy Vesey was placed on waivers, claimed by the Canucks, so we don't need to save his feelings. Who cares? He's not on the Leafs anymore. These other guys, these guys who make all the money, the star money, no, we got to save their feelings. It's not going to make them very happy if we include this on in the documentary. So it is not the job of documentarians to be like, well, no, everyone needs to look good. So like, all the Jimmy Vesey stuff, the calling him vanilla, him getting claimed off waivers, the clip of Brendan Shanahan really not giving a fuck when he got claimed off waivers. All of that should have been left in the documentary, but they did not treat the guys who stayed on the team the same.
They didn't do that to anybody else.
No, they didn't give them the same benefit of the doubt, the same grace.
Jimmy Vesey was no longer under the MLSE umbrella when they're editing this doc, and they said, hey, go ahead. You can show all this about this guy because he's no longer in this organization. I think if he is upset with the way he was portrayed, I think he has a little ground to stand on because of that.
I think, but everything that was portrayed was also accurate. I agree.
My
problem with that documentary, frankly, at the end was how they wrapped it up. They're like, well, yeah, we lost Game 7. We'll do it again next year.
Yeah.
Here's Kyle Dubas's empty board in his shitty office. That
before they lose in Game 7.
It was a bad ending.
They never captured how outrageous it was that they lost. They never captured how ridiculous it was that Montreal beat them so soundly in those last 3 games. They never captured how and it's not that Amazon didn't want to, it's the Leafs wouldn't let them.
Yeah, if you go back and you watch the playoff portion of that, it's sped through. Okay. Like that's one of the quick.
We went to the playoffs. Oops.
Yeah, we went to the playoffs and we lost, and that was it, and show's over now. They clearly did not have as much footage during that time because clearly they didn't want the cameras everywhere during the playoffs, and that portion is a little disappointing in seeing behind the scenes because I assume there isn't much behind the scenes.
Well, actually, I will say they do have the footage. From what I have heard, 70% of what was shot or what was in the original documentary was cut by the Leafs.
Well, I mean,
final decision.
Lots of stuff is going to get cut.
No, but the way they'd framed it, I think there was some Nylander stuff. His agent didn't like it.
Anderson
stuff.
Yeah, but I'm talking specifically about the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like they left all that out, or it wasn't there, and that's a decision. You know, we don't want to go into this because it wasn't a happy ending.
The Marner stuff after Game 6. Hey man, you good? Yep. All right. And he just walks off.
Yeah,
but Vesey.
VC, we can torch him.
Screw that guy. We'll embarrass him.
So that's why I'm saying I understand VC's frustration with the documentary.
Yes.
He's right. He's right. I Leaf fans, I'm sorry. He's right.
I understand it, but I disagree with it.
Right for the wrong
I think you gotta. If a guy who's supposed to come in and score 20 goals on your left wing doesn't do it, I think that's a big story.
Oh, he was given a golden opportunity and failed.
Yeah.
Here.
Yep.
Then he picked up his socks and he figured it out in New York.
And he's doing great. I wanted to. When we finished the show last time, DJ Smith had just been fired.
We get nothing on the Rangers?
Oh, what do you want to talk about with the Rangers?
Shut up.
Excuse me. Best power play in the league.
They did look good. They did look good.
Number one power
shut
play.
up.
Number one power play in the league. Don't take penalties, Toronto. 2 for 2. Alexis Lafreniere breaks a 12-game goalless streak. Pots one on the first power play. Panarin comes out for the second one. Wires it home.
Yeah, they might score a power play goal on their own next time.
Yeah.
Rangers looking good.
None of those actually went in. Yeah. Their intended target. They went off of Leafs.
They went in the back
Not
of the net.
initial shot.
That's all that matters.
That was Panarin's goal was William Laguson's first career NHL.
That's right.
All that matters is that the best power play in the league delivered 2 times consecutively, and it was a beautiful thing to watch.
And
Rangers, Stanley Cup. Let's go.
We should spend some time on how invisible the Leafs power play looked in that game.
They didn't get any.
Yeah, because
what?
The one thing I know about 60 minutes of hockey is there's no fucking way, and I'm not even joking here. There's no way that any team goes through 60 minutes of hockey and is perfect. That's such crap.
I'll say
such bullshit.
The
Leafs are 29th in the NHL in power play opportunities.
Yeah, but the style
29th.
they play, though, that has changed over the years and
Has changed
personnel
drastically this year.
has changed. It doesn't welcome it. You know, if you say it enough times, it just becomes true.
Yes.
Oh, true. Like Jacob Trouba, who defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs last night.
Like Lil Wayne saying I'm the best rapper alive a bunch of times, and Jay-Z also saying I'm the best rapper alive.
Yeah.
And then their fans going at it online about who was the best rapper alive.
I think if you told refs the sky is green enough, it would just be the reality. Like Dylan Larkin, I thought had a great quote that came out yesterday, where he found a way to compliment the refs and criticize them at the same time. Where he's like, "Oh, I think they're the best refs in the world. It's just the way they call the game comes from their bosses, right? It's on down."
He's right.
Steve,
I thought that was very clever.
I just want to know how you're ever going to stop Braden Schneider. So I don't know.
By making sure the Leafs stop acquiring guys and giving them away for free, like Eric Gustafson, who give him the puck. He got the primary assist on that damn goal. I don't get it. He was a good Leaf.
It was a good Leaf.
He was a good Leaf
Yeah.
for a hot minute, and then they're like, you know what? Let's overspend on John Klingberg instead of keeping cheaper, less injured John Klingberg.
Yep.
Very frustrating.
I want to talk about the DJ Smith stuff because we didn't really get the chance to jump into it. It had just happened, but we did that little addendum at the beginning of the show. I was
jacket
thinking
feels
about
great,
this.
by the way.
So this tweet really stuck with me. And it talks about the Senators and their previous head coaches. And I want to go through it because Trevor Shackles, Ottawa Senators writer, basically said this. After being fired, these are the coaches that have been fired and what they've done since. And we're going far back, okay? DJ Smith obviously just got fired.
That was days ago.
Guy Boucher, never an NHL head coach after that. Dave Cameron, never an NHL head coach after that. Paul McLean, never an NHL head coach after that. Corey Clouston, never an NHL head coach after that. Craig Hartsburg, never an NHL head coach after that. And John Paddock, never an NHL head coach after that.
Wow.
That is ugly, man. And this is a league that recycles these guys like they're tin. It's crazy. Like these guys, there's like 40 guys who can do this and no one else can do this. So maybe it's good that the Senators are giving people a try. But
Did Jacques Martin head coach a team after the Sens?
I think he did Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, maybe. I
or no, maybe
seem
he
to
was
remember he
assistant in
coached
Pittsburgh.
somewhere else.
He did coach somewhere else, and he's 71. And it was good, by the way.
He's 71?
Yeah, he's 71. He's not going to be the coach forever. He's just trying to.
That's why
He's aged pretty good.
That was a part of the narrative of he'll never take over this job. He's so old. Like a 71-year-old is not looking to be a full-time head coach, and all of that was nonsense.
I don't think he's going to be a head coach for like years and years.
No, but
I'm telling you, they're going to wait until the end of the season and they're going to hire Jay McKee. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Or, here, let me throw another one out there. Steve Staios is the president and GM of the Sens.
Keep going.
Who'd the Oilers just fire?
Jay Woodcroft.
Jay Woodcroft, and that's where Steve Staios came from.
I got one for you.
Jay Woodcroft's house?
What?
He went. Where did Steve Staios come from?
At Jay Woodcroft's house.
Oh, okay. Bakersfield, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I got one for you that's a little closer to home. We have a football coach in Toronto. His name is John Gruden. He is the current coach of the Toronto Marlies.
Shut up.
I
was like, Pinball Clemens is not signing with the Ottawa Senators.
In 2017-2018, Mr. John Gruden won the Super Bowl when he captured the Memorial Cup. Is it the Memorial Cup? With the Hamilton Bulldogs.
The Grey Cup.
What are you talking about?
Jesse, you're confusing me. John Gruden, the hockey coach. You're pissing me off.
Yeah. So the Hamilton Bulldogs won the championship in 17-18.
Yes, whatever that championship may be.
John Gruden was head coach at the time. Owner of the Hamilton Bulldogs when they won that championship.
Michael Andlauer.
Oh. His ties to the Hamilton Bulldogs run deep, maybe, as the Ottawa Senators love to do. Hire guys from the Maple Leafs organization. Players, coaches, everywhere around the Leafs organization. They love bringing them to Ottawa. Maybe Michael Andlauer and Steve Staios go get their Michael Andlauer's former head coach, and they bring the Marlies head coach to Ottawa.
I like that.
That is a great theory, Jesse.
That's a good theory. My point is this. to this day, or to these last few head coaches from Trevor Shackles, not great. It's not great that they didn't go on to do much. And I was thinking about this a little bit, and then I got down the wormhole in my own head about DJ Smith. There's a lot of Senators accounts right now that are posting things that, like, Daniel Alfredsson and Jacques Martin have, a couple of games under their belt, and you've already got clips of Daniel Alfredsson going over and talking to players when they're just out for a skate.
Saw that.
There's going out for a skate, and he's like, "What the hell was that?"
Kastelik with a little bit of light cardio.
Exactly. Cardio. What is it? Not
Cardio merchant.
Cardio merchants. And that's just not going to fly in Ottawa anymore. DJ Smith in Toronto, when he was the assistant coach under Babcock, was known as the good guy, and he made some baffling decisions in Ottawa as a head coach. He was never given a great roster.
No.
But really, he also made some baffling decisions with that roster. They never outperformed what they were supposed to be, which is what a sign of a good head coach.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder what kind of baffling decisions were made when he was working here. And it goes back to, like, I wonder, like, I don't doubt that DJ Smith is a really good guy, but I also do doubt the decision-making process now that I've seen it out in the open and seen it in Ottawa for 5 years.
I mean, the DJ Smith Leafs could not defend their way out of a wet paper bag. They were awful.
How were the Senators on that?
Not much better.
5 years. And the thing is, like, I think the highest that he got them was like 25th.
Oof, Maron.
In league standing?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's not good. It's really not a good record.
Man.
And I'm not trying to, like, dump on DJ Smith. I'm just trying to say, like, listen, as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, how do I make this about me? It does make me question what the hell was going on in those early years.
Now, he was highly sought after, though.
He was,
like, in terms of, at the time, I don't remember what year the Sens hired him, but,
I think it was 18, 19?
Yeah.
1920.
1920.
Okay,
so,
First year
in
of
terms of coaches that you could bring in at the time, he was an up-and-comer. He was assistant and good guy, supposedly, on the Leafs in the middle of a rapid turnaround for the team. And he won the Memorial Cup with the Oshawa Generals as head coach before that.
And just to note, before people get upset with me, the Hamilton Bulldogs won the OHL championship, not the Memorial Cup.
I thought it was Jay McKee they won it with.
In 17-18, the OHL championship was Mr. John Gruden.
Gosh darn.
Yeah.
Darn and
Maybe Jay McKee was also on that staff. I'll do a little digging here.
maybe it was.
I feel bad for Sens fans because I think now they're finally getting, I've said that a lot, I feel bad for Sens fans. I think they're finally getting a coach, at least in Jacques Martin, that is going to clean some of this shit up. And I don't know that was in DJ Smith's nature, right? Like, when you're the good guy and things are going well, that all feels good. But when you're the good guy and things suck.
Well, what do you make of them letting him run a practice and do his media availability and then fire him?
It feels Melnick-y.
It's
and
very strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially because, like, I think some of the guys from Ottawa, like Ian Mendez, wrote an article in The Athletic about how he was frozen out by the Sens for 4 years, but DJ Smith would always talk to him.
Oh my God.
Oh, I did see that.
The Sens,
Yeah.
and you know what? Ian's so friggin' classy.
He
Like,
is.
he could have made such a stink out of that. For those of you who don't know, the Melnick Senators, they froze Ian Mendez out and were basically...
I don't think he was the only one. I think local podcaster was too.
Oh, that's right. I don't
Brent
think he
Wallace.
was even accredited.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I'd have to ask.
No idea.
Ian's been a supporter for a long time, but he has too much class to make himself the story. But, like, that's an outrageous story that we don't like your coverage because it's not positive enough towards our shitty team. So we're going to freeze you out for not praising our team that's doing poorly. That's garbage. And now it's good to see him at least back in the organization's good graces. And by that, I mean the Senators support journalism again.
I don't even think it's about supporting journalism. I think it's because the Senators couldn't possibly have more bad PR in Ottawa. And somehow the fans stuck around, didn't reject the brand, the logo, the players. But that ownership was a disaster. Total disaster. And you could see it in everything that's happened since 2017. So I wonder, with Alfredson on the bench, that carries weight. Jacques Martin, the coach of their best years, that's got to carry some weight. I wonder if these players start to turn a corner. And I've wondered that about the Pittsburgh Penguins, because we saw what happened when Knobloch took over in Edmonton. I know they lost last night.
3 in a row.
But they won 8 in a row to start. There's usually a heater.
There's John Hines as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
John Hines, who did not start Marc-Andre Fleury against the Penguins.
Weird. Really weird.
I think the like coach bump theory thing, I was expecting it last night and it happened right away. You get a 3-goal lead and then you blow that lead. But I think like there's a little stretch here where Ottawa's going to play decent hockey. But I don't think this season they're looking at it like how they looked at it at the beginning of the season, where it's, hey, we can challenge for a playoff spot and all that.
Yeah.
Like, they might get the little bump here, but I don't think it's going to, all these players are all of a sudden going to take this team to the playoffs.
They have, that coaching staff has a really difficult job mentally here. Like, you have to play, even if you have like a minuscule chance of making the playoffs, you have to act like you still have a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many freaking games left. There's, what is it, like 50? Probably more than 50 for them, like something like 55 games. That's so many games. It's still possible for you to make the playoffs. Like, you need to build towards something, for God's sake. And you almost got to develop good habits on the fly, right? Like, sometimes you maybe sacrifice doing the best thing for winning an individual game for sticking to a theme that'll help you in the long term. It's just I just see how the players and the fans are starting to match how each other act.
Yeah.
Like, it's dejected and almost like an acceptance of this is a lost season. You can't look at it like that. You got to push through. There's too much season left. You can't become failure.
The Ottawa Senators currently sit last in the Eastern Conference with 22 points. They've played 27 games. And
oh, boy.
Yeah, they're 5 back of their nearest competitor, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have 27
That's
points.
crazy.
It's not acceptable for the Ottawa Senators to finish the season. And I know Montreal's been a bit of a heater and the Sabres have disappointed, but in their division, it's not acceptable for the Senators not to finish ahead of at least the Canadiens.
Did any of us have the Sens last even in their division?
No, we thought they'd be a fringe playoff team.
They ought to be. I mean, you know what this league really doesn't have anymore, except for maybe a couple teams? Bad teams. Like, I feel like who's
Last year.
genuinely terrible?
Last year, I think there were 3 very bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
very
yes.
good.
In the Sharks, Ducks, and Blackhawks.
Yeah, but you know what we also had last. First of all, don't disparage the Sharks. You know what we had last year? Connor Bedard. And Macklin Celebrini doesn't have the same fanfare. The Blackhawks are still bottoming out. Everyone else is interested in winning. Mm-hmm. Like, even the teams at the bottom don't want to be there. They have no aspirations of being there. The Sharks had the really terrible start. They've won a bunch of games. The Blue Jackets not doing great at it, but they're trying to win friggin' games. They hung 9 on the Sabres last night. The Sabres, who, by the way, are not trying to be this bad. The Sens are not trying to be this bad.
Yep.
Who's actually tanking?
Yeah.
It's like one team.
For this season, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's probably the Sharks and the Blackhawks are the only 2 teams that are really trying to be bad.
And even the Blackhawks, like, they didn't mean to be like this. Like, the Corey Perry set, they overspent on Corey Perry to bring him in. They overspent on Nick Foligno. Mm-hmm. They brought in Taylor Hall. What's the point of that? You stink.
Well, Hall got injured. Corey Perry.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying you brought in Taylor Hall in the hopes of, all right, put him on the wing of the kid and we'll let them be our Batman and Robin little duo. And
I don't think they were trying to be good.
I don't think they were trying to be good, but like, they weren't trying to be the worst team in the league. Listen, there are years where teams are very obviously trying to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I think this year, I think you're 100% right in that there's probably just 2.
Who are the 2?
Sharks and the Blackhawks.
The Sharks? No! How dare you?
The Sharks have lost 3 in a row and are 9-20-3.
You know what? I'm putting the toque back on. to keep myself sheltered.
They're
from
a
your hot
minus
take.
61 in goal differential.
Yeah, because you're still caught up in their bad start to the season. I'm not going to let your false narrative interrupt my Sharks' truth. All right?
Yeah. I'm allowed to say that they're bad right now.
Jesse, I sent you a video, and I was just hoping you could play said video. I think this season's been really good for hockey fans. I think we've had, if you're like, obviously, it's team variant, so I'm sure that there's Ducks fans who are like, yeah, I disagree with that. But as an overall NHL season, this is one of the best seasons I can remember for storylines and drama and people being honest.
It's been
and
really compelling.
Really compelling. And what you're going to see here is Devon Toews, who is one of the best defensemen on a team with a lot of great defensemen. He's one of the best defensemen in the league. I cannot believe the Islanders gave him up for what they gave him up for.
2 seconds.
And he has something to say about people on his own team. And as NHL players, they never say anything bad. So this, I think you will find fascinating.
Adam, do you want to be proud?
What?
I was a good boy. I knew you would have this prepared, and I knew you would be excited about it. I haven't watched it.
Oh, even better. Here we go.
Can't wait.
Seeing you guys never really got going in that one. What's your kind of unfolded now from your perspective?
Yeah, we came out pretty well actually. You know, the power play goals obviously helped. At some point, you know, they're going to get power plays back too. It usually tends to even itself up and, you know, break down on the penalty kill for the third goal. But besides that, you know, we didn't really get to our game much. You know, it looked at times like we were, and then we just don't. I think it's frustrating right now.
I was going to say, you seem really visibly frustrated. What is it that's just so upsetting about a loss like that?
No, it's just self-awareness of knowing the situation and knowing the way the game's trending. And we have guys that are, you know, going out against our structure and doing things that we don't do as a team. And that's what's frustrating is, you know, when you have 20 guys in here that are working towards the same goal and have the same, you know, goal in mind, it's fun to play. You know, that's how you win games in this league. And when you have 14 guys that are playing to the structure and 6 that aren't, it's really tough to win in this league. That's, you know, it doesn't take a lot, you know, or many guys to go against the way that your team wants to play in order to lose a game. And just our self-awareness of knowing when we're playing well and knowing when we're not is just not there. You know, we don't have a self-awareness of what it takes to win as a team and what it takes as an individual to compete and play your best right now. So it's frustrating when, you know, as a collective you're not pulling for the same goal.
This is maybe a silly question. How do you fix that?
I mean, it's self-awareness. We need guys that know how to play in our system, how to play our game, and know what it takes. And if we have guys in here, I think we got some guys that think they're playing well, and I think they're kidding themselves at this point. It's frustrating to play with. You know, play out there when you got guys that think they're playing well and they're doing things that, you know, you have no idea what play they're going to make or where they're going to be on the ice. And it's tough to play in this league when you don't know where your teammates are going to be. So, you know, that's where a lot of the frustration stems from.
Wow.
See, it sort of simmers, and then he finally goes, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going for it.
Wow.
I love this, by the way.
Where was this posted?
Guerrilla Sports, I think, had it, but it was a post game, and
okay.
You know, they lost 3-2 to Chicago.
I was like,
third goal came in by Tyler Johnson with at 8:19 in the third. So, you know what's there's a few things there, but I thought the thing that was most interesting is not the thing that's maybe making headlines. Is he's like, you've got guys who you don't even know what play they're gonna make.
That's icy.
Because the whole thing about playing hockey at that speed is knowing where you are, where your teammates are on the ice in the positioning. And if he's just like, they don't know, or I don't know where they're going to be, that's a big shot at just those guys playing NHL hockey. Like, that is a huge deal, what he's saying.
Six guys.
I assume that this has been talked through in the dressing room. Then this is the last straw for Mr. Toews. You know, the going to the media and complaining about it publicly because they've tried to fix this internally, and he's fed up.
I think you're right.
Oh, yeah.
I think you have a good read on that.
I also think that room, any room with Nathan McKinnon in it is going to be held to a very high standard. Like,
Yes.
And Nathan McKinnon can be ornery, right? When Zadorov was talking about it, guys, could we have save the chocolate bars for the offseason?
Yeah.
I don't think Zadorov was making that up. I think McKinnon got pissed that Zadorov told that publicly. But I think that is their mindset.
They won a cup.
That's why they're so successful. They have been. Listen, they've only got the one cup, but I think they've been one of the most successul teams for half a decade now?
That sounds like Nathan McKinnon speaking through Devon Toews.
Doesn't it?
It sounds like their captain, or Nathan McKinnon, is giving them the mentality that they need to go win. And the 14 guys that are buying in, like, they seem to embody him. And there's a bunch of guys that don't, and they need to get their act together.
So let's play the game.
Name names.
Who is it? Name names. Come on, Devon. Well, is it okay? Based on what he said, do we think he's talking about guys who were on the cup-winning team or new guys?
I think it's got to be new guys.
You'd think.
Yeah. Also, just everybody, I corrected myself when I briefly called McKinnon captain. I know it's Landeskog.
So I'm looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Bowen Byram, Devon Toews, Josh Manson, Cale Makar.
All buy-in guys.
All guys who were on the team.
Their chips are in the middle of the table. They're buying in.
Buying in.
Yep.
Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Valerie Nikushkin. Was Logan O'Connor? Yeah, Logan O'Connor, I believe, was on that cup-winning team. I don't remember if Andrew Cogliano was. I think he might have been on the Stars
Let me just pull it up.
at the time. All those guys were on that team that won. Landeskog is obviously, that's a big power vacuum, man. I know he's still around the team, but
that was a big leader with a lot of history.
if you're not there every game and you're not there playing, it's different. I know they don't want a captain, but right now there is a...
Well, it's why the Leafs kept playing Ryan Reaves when Bobby McMahon is clearly a guy that should be playing.
Right.
It's that you need the guy for the message to matter. And it doesn't matter if you're the captain and the best player in the team or you're the right winger, but you're the vibes guy. You have to be playing for that message to sink in.
And you know what? I was just looking at their long-term injured reserve. I saw Arturi Lehkonen was there. So this Devon Toews clip comes a week, maybe less, after Mikko Rantanen called out Arturi Lehkonen's dad for criticizing him in the media. This is a very grumpy group right now.
Now, if they get it together, that's scary, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly scary. Well, because look who's on their team.
Logan
right?
O'Connor, by the way, was on the cup-winning team.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
So here are some new guys. Ross Colton. I don't know. He scored a cup-winning goal. Played against Colorado in the Cup final. Ryan Johansson is a new guy. That's interesting. Miles Wood is a new guy.
Put a little star next to that one.
Yeah. Andrew Cogliano, I would be stunned. He's 36.
There's a guy who probably knows what's going on.
Probably.
Yeah.
Jonathan Drouin is kind of interesting. He's gotten some opportunities in the top 6.
You're a buddy of one of the guys. You make it be a little too relaxed. Put a star next to that one.
I don't know. Joel Kiviranta. Joel fucking Kiviranta.
We got to come up with 6, remember?
Yeah. And Frederick Olofsson. Nah.
What's his role,
What about on the D-core? You would assume, is Devon Toews pissed about a D-to-D pass? Is he pissed about a pass up to the forward? You don't know.
Or is he talking about, is he getting so into the weeds they talk about fourth liners?
I don't know. Well, Curtis McDermott, I can't remember if he was.
He was. Curtis McDermott.
He was? Oh, okay, so I missed him. So now you're down to Sam Malinsky, Jack Johnson,
who was on the team.
Who was on that team, actually, and Caleb Jones.
But
I think it's a forward.
Guys, there can be players that were on that team that are not as bought in.
Well,
people do go, well, I got my cup.
You know what? He's on a point streak, but what about Nathan McKinnon?
Could be him.
It's probably him.
It's Toews versus McKinnon.
I've always said he's butt.
Actually, Jack Johnson was not there.
Yeah, I thought he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no. Jack Johnson, no. Eric Johnson, yes.
Yes,
Yes, that's what we got confused with.
But who was the guy? Wasn't Jack Johnson on the Blackhawks, but they let him onto the Cup banner celebration?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm wrong.
Avalanche?
I'm wrong. Here's Jack Johnson. Yeah, I was looking at Eric Johnson. I just assumed that was the Johnson we're talking. But Jack Johnson played 74 games in that season for the Avs. There you go.
Okay.
Jack Johnson.
I think they might have got him from Pittsburgh.
Maybe that's what it was.
Interesting.
So-
Maybe he's mad at Pavel Francouz, who's no longer. Francouz is still there, right?
Yes, long-term injured reserve.
Right. Probably mad at him for that.
There's a lot
Or
of
Burakowski, who plays for someone else. I don't even know what play this man is making.
It's so surprising. This is the last team I would think this would come from. Well, I guess the last team is probably the Lightning. Second last team.
I'll be honest.
Lightning. I would expect it just because they've been together so long.
Maybe we should expect it more from the Lightning and the Avalanche types because they've been together so long and they hold themselves to the highest standard. I think on a team that is middling and they've never won, they've never competed deep into the playoffs, they probably don't think this. Like Toews probably isn't so upset if he's on a middle of the pack team, but this is a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, and he knows every night we need to be thinking like that. It's the same thing John Cooper talked about earlier in this year when he was complaining about the compete level, and he's like, is this a game 34 or is this what I'm going to get on game 1 of the playoffs? So these guys who are like, we got to buy in, they know that your effort in the middle of the year, in the middle of December, needs to be at a level where I can see that it's going to work for the playoffs.
I have a question. And I'm going to go NBA on this one. Kobe Bryant
Interesting.
is, known for a lot of things. But one of the things that he's most known for is his competitiveness and his intensity on the court.
The Mamba mentality.
That's right.
What you're looking
And there's
for.
been books written about it. And, his trainer was also Michael Jordan's trainer. I've read that book. It's a good book. And I wonder... And I remember this towards in the waning years of Kobe's era. There were players that could hack it on the Lakers, and then there were players that could not hack it on the Lakers, just like with the Bulls, right? When Michael Jordan was super intense. The thing was that I think Kobe didn't retire at his peak like Michael did. So we saw the waning years where his body just wasn't holding up anymore. And I'm not saying that's where McKinnon's at or Toews or whatever. Is it possible that that message has, or that type of intensity and the way you go about it has a time frame? And I'm not saying that the Colorado Avalanche are past that, but sometimes you can take, when you live on that edge, you can take it too far, and you can get people to go, you know what, fuck off.
Yeah, but then I don't want you on my team.
Well,
You can't match my
we're in a
intensity?
triple hard salary cap league. Good luck.
Yeah, well, fuck off. Like, if you can't match my intensity and all I'm trying to do is win, get out of here. It's if you want to bring up the Lakers, Dwight Howard couldn't hang on the Lakers because he didn't care about basketball enough, and Kobe hated it.
And he ate candy.
Yeah.
Lots of candy.
Lots and lots of candy. Are the Flyers not following the exact trajectory that we expect out of John Tortorella?
Yes.
The beginning season where he comes in and he goes, I am John gosh darn Tortorella, and I'm going to scratch all of you. I don't care if you have 70 points. And also, I don't like interesting things to happen in hockey. You will get down and you will block shots and you will eat wood and other things that make you tough. And next season, we will see an improvement. Well,
Look
you
at
know what
that.
always happens?
Eat
Look
wood.
at that. Yeah.
Eat wood, eat bark,
I don't like that.
eat tree bark.
That makes me uncomfortable too. Just
Eating
splinters.
wood? No, this is good stuff.
I don't think we can title the show "Eat Wood."
Eat wood.
Eat
I don't think we
sticks
can do
and
that.
branches, and things of that nature. And we all go, oh, John, that's ridiculous. And then next year you go, gosh darn it, they're in a playoff spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened.
And he yelled his way into the playoff spot.
Yeah, but then what happens is around year 4-ish, after a couple years of success, people go, that's enough, John. And then they don't play very well and he gets fired. And then he goes to the next team where we repeat the cycle of, I can't believe another team hired John Tortorella.
He's a culture
Gosh
shift
darn it.
coach.
Yeah.
They improved. Oh my God, they're in the Final Four. Oh my God, they're in the first round. And oh my God, they kind of stink. And oh my God, he's fired.
And they can never score.
never score.
Watching the John Tortorella show, like the reruns aren't very good. You can't watch it over and over and over
Yes.
again like The Office. Eventually, you're like, I don't want to see any more of this stuff. I've seen this time and time again. And then you go get a new show and there's a new season. You're like, oh, it's good. And then there's more reruns. You're like, nah.
So what I'm saying, my point with Toews and the bringing up of the Kobe thing is maybe how many people did you go through there that have been there since the Cup? There have been a few.
lot of
There's
them.
a lot.
Yep.
It feels like it's shake-up time.
I feel like they did. There's a lot of new, like, even though there's a lot of, the core is still there, but like Ross Colton, like that's a pretty big deal. Miles Wood, they made a big commitment to. Ryan Johansson's a pretty big deal. Well, they have new guys.
And here's the funny part is they have this crazy sense of we got to be up here. And they got Ryan Johansson.
Well,
Ryan Johansson is an extraordinarily talented hockey player who is known for did not work under Torts in Columbus. It worked out okay in Nashville, but he's not exactly known for being Mr. Intensity.
Could it be a challenge to a guy on the team who was on the cup-winning team who's maybe younger, like a Bowen Byram?
Has Byram not been playing well?
I could see something like that.
I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as we're throwing names out there, it's not like we've nailed it.
I feel like what needs to happen, and I don't know how they do this, they need to Nazem Kadri and the Avalanche need to be reunited.
Baby,
it's wrong that he's not playing there anymore. He needs to get out of Calgary, and the Avalanche could use him again.
Kadri and Huberdeau to the Avs
for nothing.
75% retained for a fifth.
For the Avalanche to pay for a quarter of their arena.
Yes.
I honestly think there may be listen, sometimes this stuff's dealt with in the dressing room, but we got the Mikko Rantanen quote, and now we got the Devon Toews quote. There's some unrest in the hills, and I'm just wondering if there's not a big trade coming.
And I think we should be less surprised that it comes out of that dressing room now that we've talked it through. I think these teams that want to win the Stanley Cup are held to a higher standard. And the reason you're successful is because you have guys like Toews who are willing to say this kind of stuff.
Can you imagine they had done an Amazon Prime documentary about the Avalanche? And then they lost in the first round. Nathan McKinnon would be like, leave it all in. Leave it all in. I want them to see our failure so we never do this again.
Yeah.
That would be an Avalanche attitude, and I fucking love that.
Yeah.
The journalist who criticized Rantanen is who? Dude, that'd be great.
It'd be amazing. By the way, as we were recording, Jaromir Jagr at 51 years old is playing on the second line right wing for Kladno, a team that he owns, and he just picked up a primary assist.
Wow.
Okay.
So Jaromir Jagr, 35 years and counting as a professional hockey player.
I'm going to clap. Adam, you have the clip in front of you. Are the guys defending him trying?
Or is this a Putin playing hockey situation?
No, they are trying. Like it's the big ice.
Yeah.
And so the gap control's a little bit wonky to watch when you're used to watching North American hockey. The defenseman doesn't grab him quickly enough, but it's a good pass.
Okay.
It's a good pass.
The Putin hockey video is the funniest video of all time.
It is.
Oh my God.
It is.
Dude's being like, I don't want to go in a hole.
I've read.
I'm not playing defense.
I've read entire articles about that and the political effect it had on Russia.
Him playing hockey?
Yes, and why he decided in his 50s to learn to play hockey. Because it was all part of this masculine. You know, there's those shots of him on a horse with his shirt off.
Off. Imagine Joe Biden just riding a horse with a shirt.
Yeah, or him working out in his home gym. There's
Trudeau.
There's a masculinity thing that he was trying to impart, and hockey was a part of that. It's a whole political thing for him. It's wild. The way they do politics in Russia is so bonkers, and the way they run that country is so bonkers. Anyway, we won't get to it. Devon Toews, love that. Rod Brind'Amour. Is there a case for Rod Brind'Amour to be
fired
in the Hall of Fame already? And here's what I'm going to throw at you, okay? I believe this tweet was deleted. Oh, that's stupid.
Oh, yeah, because it was wrong.
Oh, it was wrong. It was wrong.
That's hilarious. So the tweet was, I think he's the first the first person to ever play 1,000 NHL games
and coach
400.
That's not true.
That's not true. No. But 1,000 games and coaching 400. Forget that he's not the first.
Yeah, I believe the actual thing is like first player to play 1,400 and coach 400,
which is amazing.
He's like top 20 all time in games played, something like that.
So
he's way up there.
So let's ask that question then. Forget the tweet being wrong. This question still stands. Do you put Rod Brind'Amour in the Hall of Fame right now? He's won a cup as a player. The Carolina Hurricanes have struggled a bit out of the gate, but they've been a perennial threat to win the cup since he's been the head coach there.
Yeah.
Is it time?
If I'm mistaken, you don't get both. Like you go in as a
not
player
cumulative.
based on your resume as a player, or you go in as a coach based on your resume as a coach. You don't get to combine the two for your Hall of Fame eligibility. Yeah,
Okay,
that's how I
interesting.
understand it.
Now, as a player, I would still feel like he'd have an outside shot. He was a very, very good player, and like you look at his stat lines, and stat lines are amazing. But what you need to look at is Rod Brind'Amour, the centerman that allowed other centermen to be themselves. He was the guy that was defensively responsible and could score, and was in insane shape as well. Great with the Flyers, great with the Hurricanes, just an animal.
You know how every generation has someone who was always in the Selke conversation?
Yeah,
Rod Brind'Amour. He was so often in the Selke conversation. He won it back-to-back years in 06 and 07. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... in like 10 different seasons, he was nominated or voted on for something.
he came within 16 games of playing 1,500 games in the NHL.
That's
He had. He also came within 16 points of having 1,200 points.
That's a lot of points.
I feel
And
like
for
that's a Hall of
defensive
Famer, right?
center-
That's a Hall of Famer. What?
and for a defensive center,
Yes. That's what he was known for.
no one wants to hear this, and I don't feel good saying it, but you know who kind of screws up a lot of Hall of Fame conversations for me is Paul Kariya. He was a point-a-game player during the dead puck era, so that's extremely hard. So should he get into the Hall of Fame based on that, and his career was cut short due to injuries? Yeah, I'll definitely hear that argument. But Rod Brind'Amour also played during that era. He won the first post-lockout cup as captain. He has 2 individual trophies and the Stanley Cup. Like, when you start adding things on top of each other, there's no reason to have him out of the Hall. How many goals does he have?
452.
Very few players. And I talked about this in Dangle Data, a video that you can find on the SDPN YouTube channel. It is so rare to hit 450 plus goals. It's even more rare to hit 450 plus goals in the role that Rod Brind'Amour played. There are a couple guys from like those 90s Flyers teams that should be in the Hall and aren't. Rod Brind'Amour is one of them. And my line mate, John LeClaire. That dude should be in the Hall, man.
Yeah.
His numbers are nuts. And another guy with a cup.
Yep.
Another guy with a cup. This is why, some people a little lazily rely on, but he doesn't have a cup for Hockey Hall of Fame arguments. It does kind of matter because there are guys with a cup and Hall of Fame conversation numbers that don't get in. And it sucks that you can't combine. He was one of the best players in the league for a very long time, certainly at his role. And he's also one of the best coaches in the league for a long time. And you can't combine them and be like, this person has contributed enough to hockey
Right.
that he
Yes.
warrants a spot
Yes.
in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, but they're different categories, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But like with Rod Brind'Amour and being a Hall of Famer, I think people need to more recognize, the voters need to more recognize the context of the way he played in his game. Because, if the points aren't there, you have to realize that he played a defensive role. Then, like, his shorthanded points are 10th all time. Like, it's 10th all time in shorthanded points. And amongst players with 1,500 face-offs, he is first all-time in face-off percentage.
Wow.
Because that's his role on the team. And if you take into the context of Brind'Amour's career and the way he was deployed to play, I think he probably should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but Jesse, I mean, here, look at it this way. He only had 260 NHL goals in 1,300 games. He never had a single 30-goal season. His career high in points was, let me see, it was 57. Like, I don't know if... Oh, I'm sorry. That's Hockey Hall of Famer Guy Carbonneau. My bad. Sorry, I was talking about the wrong player.
Okay.
What?
Yes.
What? Those types of players who play that role, and Carbonneau played that role, do get into the Hall of Fame for playing that role. His numbers are not Hall of Fame numbers. Yeah, he's got the cups. He got the cups. He played for the Habs pre-1994. Like, okay, yeah, he got the cups. He won 3 Selke trophies. Rod's got 2. Mm-hmm. Rod the Bod should be in if this guy's in.
You know, Rod was also in tough because Jarry Lehtinen was a threat for that Selke every year.
Every year.
Jarry Lehtinen, last winger to win the Selke.
He was often like top 10-ish in Selke voting. He should be in. You should be able to combine.
I also think
Also-
if he can't combine, is there a chance based on his record so far as a coach, if he wins a couple cups, which we all think there's going to be a cup eventually for Rod Brind'Amour as a coach, I think. Can he go in twice?
No.
Why not?
I mean,
If they're different categories.
based on the way, yes, you know what? Damn it, you sold me.
Not yet. He's not earned it as a coach yet.
No.
And I think he would say that. But that's a double threat, man.
No, but when it comes to voting, you know one day his name will come across someone's desk and they'll be like, give it to him. Doesn't matter what category he goes in as.
I want him to go in twice. I love Rod.
Put it this way. I think he's a great coach,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be difficult for him to have a better coaching career than his playing career because his playing career was so good. He should be in the Hall.
With Brind'Amour, the coaching doesn't add to his player resume, but the international hockey contributions do. He has a world championship gold, and he was on the 98 Olympic team in Italy, which wasn't a good team.
That was in Japan.
Japan.
Sorry.
Now you know.
Japan. Italy, I think, was the world championships where he won. The 98 team in Japan, which wasn't good, but he made the Olympic team, which is a show of a standard of his play at the time compared to his peers.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the Nagano team, eh?
Yeah.
No, the Nagano team just ran into Hasek. They were a good team.
Yeah.
They just ran into fucking prime Hasek, and their head coach didn't put Wayne Gretzky out in the shootout.
Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Nolan Patrick has officially retired from the NHL after 4 seasons. He's 25 years old. He was drafted 2nd overall in the 2017 draft, and I can remember because he was a guy that they were saying, like, because after the McDavid and Matthews drafts, which included Eichel and Laine and so many other great players, and Marner, and this was the draft where people were like, we're less excited about this. This kid Nolan Patrick, this kid Nico Hischier, they could go 1, they could go 2.
Not Jeff Merrick. He came on our show back when we recorded in that tiny room in your apartment that was basically all glass.
Yeah.
And he was talking about this 16-year-old kid playing for the Brandon Wheat Kings, and it was Nolan Patrick.
Right.
That was years and years
Well, I remember his head coach going on the radio and saying, he won't be ready for the NHL in the first year. Like, anyway, in 222 games, he had 32 goals, 45 assists. It seems as though he's going to be working as a skills specialist, and just terrible injury luck.
Yeah.
And really, that is sort of sometimes life. Life is luck sometimes, just the way the cookie crumbles.
I mean, good for him. Like, a lot of people don't make that decision in time. You know?
Mm-hmm.
He's, how old is he?
25.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, that's a young man. Like, I wasn't even married when I was 25. I was still living with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy has had an entire NHL career, I believe, with enough games to make NHLPA pension.
Yes.
No, good for him for making this decision for his health. He could always come back if he wanted to. Who knows? Mm-hmm. You know, but it's good. It's good that he's making this decision for his health.
And I'm sure as a guy who went super high in the draft, there's plenty of ways for him to work within hockey that, he could become a coach or GM or whatever. But also, there is a market for people that are young players who need mentors, and they use that mentors, great players, and navigating things.
Yeah.
It's not just the agent.
I went 2nd overall, and I'm retired by 25. That is a fascinating story. I would listen to that guy talk every single day of the week about that journey. Like, I think he's got a long career in hockey, no matter, he sounds like he wants to do skills work, but no matter what he wants to do, if it's mentorship or coaching, just listening to that journey, even at the young age of 25, and as he grows and gets perspective on this portion of his life, like, Nolan Patrick is a very interesting person, I think.
Sorry, did it say who he was doing the skills work with?
No.
Did you say?
No.
Oh, no.
Doesn't say that. I don't know. I don't believe it. And I know he was with the Golden Knights organization this spring. Even though he doesn't get his name on the cup, he did get to kind of hoist the cup.
Yeah, because his last season that he played was the 22 season. He played 25 games with the Golden Knights.
Yeah.
And they
That
didn't
sucks,
return.
man.
Yeah.
It does suck. It does suck.
That draft, though, that 2017 draft, just killers all around it. It's Pettersson, it's Makar, it's Jason Robertson, it's Nico Hischier, Marty Necas, Robert Thomas, Josh Norris. Like, it's a really good
And that was the draft
draft.
nobody tanked for.
Yeah,
Nobody
really
was like
good draft.
excited about it. There's some great players there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mira Heiskanen, Gabe Velarde, who we were just talking about the other day, had a great game.
Damn, what a great draft. You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even Middlestad has come into his own.
Yeah, Hedo's having a good little year.
I like it.
Did you say Robert Thomas? Damn.
Nick Suzuki, I didn't even mention that.
Drafted by Vegas. Now, Stephen Ellis, who was a writer for Daily Faceoff and an all-around good person. He said, if you want to feel old, there were multiple Team Canada players that said watching this player at the World Juniors was one of their favorite tournament memories growing up.
Bedard.
Bedard.
No, I'm kidding.
What do you think it is, Steve? This player at the tournament had a standout World Junior tournament for a particular team, and these are Team Canada players, so you can assume the Canadian identity, obviously. I'll give you that. What player had a standout tournament that these guys who are 16, 17, 18 years old would have been, wow, what a memory that was.
Alexei Lafreniere.
You are correct.
Who is a literal baby. Like, Lafreniere is not an old man.
What year was that? Was it 2019?
It was like 5 minutes ago, man.
Yeah,
It just happened.
2019 Team Canada's 2019 IIHF.
No!
Amazing.
That's good.
It's not amazing.
That's what those kids say. They watch.
Yeah. Now, when you're 16, 17, 18, 4 years is a long time.
That's why
So long.
I freak out a little bit when you hear about like 16, 15. Wasn't there a 14-year-old playing in the WHL the other day?
Yeah, I brought it up on the show. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And Adam, you're not even right about the year.
I'm not?
The year Lafreniere went off was the 2020 World Juniors, where he had 10 points in 5 games. Like, that was like, oh my God, who is this Lafreniere kid? That's 2020.
Oh my God.
Steve's got his toque over his head for everybody.
What is it?
listening.
Oh my God.
What is it?
He's
What is it?
upset.
What is it?
It's the world keeps spinning, man.
Does it?
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. Oh God. That's so bad.
These kids looked up to this Lafreniere in 2020.
Like,
Just before, I guess it would have been just before COVID?
yes,
I guess
right
that
before COVID.
In the before time?
Right before.
In the
Or,
long
or
ago?
do they count it like
No,
the
it's
other one?
18 to it's 2018 into 19 is the 2019. So this is the 2024 World Juniors coming up. Because
Oh, really?
It's awarded in 2024. So it starts.
That's how they count it?
That's how they count it.
I'm always confused by
so it'd
that.
be 19, but the World Junior was 19 into 20.
Yeah.
Right.
You know who does that stupid too? The NFL. Because like
Yeah.
95% of their season is played in 1 year, but then the little bit of the playoffs and the Super Bowl is obviously in February. And I'm always confused. Like, okay, which championship is this?
Right.
You know?
Well, they also don't name the year. They're like Super Bowl 47. And I'm like,
yeah.
when did it start? I don't know.
What year was that?
Man, I don't know.
Hey, I know you don't know the difference between imperial and metric, but we're going to put this in Roman numerals.
I know. They got to stop that too. So they got to stop it.
But like, this should be the 2023 World Juniors,
No.
but it's the 2024.
Well, it's awarded in 2024.
Tell TSN.
Because the World Junior Championship, which is what it's called,
Yeah.
is in 2024.
Get Duthie on the phone. I want him on the show. Get James on the phone.
I would love that.
As the O-Dog likes to call him. Tell him to fix the damn championship year. This is the 2023 World
Yeah.
Juniors.
You know, Duffy's
Oi,
got that kind
Jim.
of power too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jimmy?
I'm calling Jim.
What do I call him? James?
He's on the phone.
Jimmy?
Mr. Jim. No. Damn.
Yeah. So last story, we can do a press conference or we can wrap. It's up to you guys.
We can definitely.
But Aaron Rodgers, it's been reported, will not be playing this year. And I just wanted to know if you guys had any thoughts on modern medicine and how it failed Aaron Rodgers this year.
Oh, I knew it.
What was weird about that was that we all knew he wasn't going to play, and he was like, nah, but maybe. And it just felt like, because Zach Wilson was getting a ton of attention, it did feel like Aaron Rodgers needed it to be about him a little bit.
Oh, Adam, how could you and the vast majority of other people paying attention say that? That's all I got.
There's a lot of silence.
That's all I got to say.
Jesse, what do you have to say about it? What do you think about that?
He gets so much airtime that he doesn't deserve, and he just says the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to play again this season. And we're all like, yeah, I know, Aaron. Like, it's not news. That is several months ago's news.
And then
you're breaking it now.
His coach had to confirm that too.
Because you're a knob.
Robert.
Yeah, no, there's no real shot that Aaron Rodgers was going to play this season. Aaron Rodgers loves attention, and the thing that he loves to do most is do things that get attention. So dragging this out and making like people believe that there was a possibility that he might play was his whole thing for attention. And now it's over because there's no shot he's.
Is he a Jet next year?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I just wondered if he'd want to play on that artificial turf again after literally what it did to him.
No, it wasn't the turf.
It wasn't the turf?
The turf didn't do it.
Everybody blame the turf.
It's ridiculous.
Let's do the press conference.
Okay.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
This is from Bonesy. I thought it's a little jab, give you a little chuckle.
Let's have it, Boner.
Bonesy says, how often have you said, man, I wish Ryan Reaves was in the lineup tonight. I'm stuck at 0 times.
Okay. Opening night. The second night, because that was the one after opening night. The third night. That's probably it. Mm-hmm. Maybe the game against the Bruins, the first one where he did nothing. You like this one, Matt?
Like Sherman Ryan Reaves?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, man. Like,
he's in it for the Reeves slander.
Okay, here's where I'm not loving the conversation, though. He's hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think it speaks volumes that you do not miss him.
Yeah, but like,
if Austin Matthews was injured, we'd be like, you know what? Be nice to have Austin tonight.
Yeah, but should this team be made or broken by a fourth line enforcer being out of the lineup?
Mm-hmm. No, but I think the more important conversation we were having before the beginning of the year is it can't just be him. Like we saw with Kyle Clifford, and we saw with Michael Bunting, and we saw with Wayne Simmons.
He's still around the team.
And Matt Martin. Yeah, and I think it's not that Ryan Reaves was going to solve the problem, but there was an issue on this team, in my opinion, of toughness and responding. And they were told, to be fair to them, they were told not to respond physically.
And a quiet bench, too.
And a quiet bench. And they were embarrassed by the Bruins early. I mean, Reaves getting a couple fights in the first 2 games was great. And then, Reaves didn't play great the rest of the time. We kind of didn't expect him to, but we didn't know it was going to be that bad. But the other guys started to step up. Again, and I've said this a few times, Toronto loves a tough hockey team.
You got all the T's in there.
Toronto loves a tough hockey team.
All right there, Joe
They
Carter.
want a team that scores a bunch of goals, and which Leaf management focused way too much on the toughness and not enough on the goals for like 20 years.
Yes.
Now we focused a ton on the goals. We get lots of goals. Now we've added some toughness, still getting lots of goals. Fun team to watch. The Leafs are a fun team every night, except for a couple this season.
You know what? Put it this way. I think this encapsulates Toronto pretty well. The Ron Wilson years / Randy Carlyle years, those were not great years. There was some up. There was mostly down. There were players who were way on the tough side, who all the nerds hated and all the olds loved. Mm-hmm. Then there were players on the skill side, Phil Kessel, for example, who all the nerds loved and a lot of the olds hated. Mm-hmm. You know who everyone loved? Clark MacArthur. And, that's the type of player, and that's going to sound ridiculous, but that's the type of player the city loves.
Yes.
He can score, and if you fuck with him, he'll beat the shit out of you. And he did that a few times. He made himself room. Go look up his fight with Yaroslav Spacek. He broke his face. He broke his orbital bone.
Mm-hmm.
It was like watching a guy get mauled by a tiger. And you're like, Clark MacArthur did that? Like, I've said this for years. Like, William Nylander is like a Greek god. And one day, I would love him to grab someone and throw some punches just for the shock of him actually maybe winning a fight.
Mm-hmm.
He might get his ass kicked. You do sort of need to know what you're doing. You can't just be strong. But, like, he's an ox. Matthews is an ox. There are players shorter and lighter than Mitch Marner that fight with some regularity. Like, Travis Konechny is Mitch Marner with less fucks to give.
I love him.
And ever so slightly more facial hair, but not by a wide margin. Neither of them can.
Baby faces, both of them.
Both of them. And again, none of those three guys, Tavares included actually, are doing the fighting, but more of this team is willing to at least get involved physically.
This is from Shawnee. Shawnee says, goals since December 19th. Alexander Ovechkin, 0. Tristan Jarry, 1.
Man, people got on us for that Ovi talk.
It's December 20th, by the way.
We had that chat, and then we put it up on, I guess, TikTok or whatever. People got so mad about Ovi fans got so mad. I'm like,
has he scored since?
No. Even with our jinx, he has.
In the last month, Tristan Jarry has outscored Alexander Ovechkin.
They're gonna need somebody to set him up.
And Shawnee's question, I haven't gotten to it yet. Shawnee says, my question, will Jarry be able to continue outscoring Ovechkin?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
I didn't know he's got a full month without scoring a goal.
Like
That's
the most
insane.
Hilarious thing about Ovechkin over the last half decade plus is his ability to just look at what the age curve is supposed to be and go, no. And now what's happening is like just that line is going to go straight down unless something corrects itself. And again, if he goes on some sort of run, 0 people will be shocked. 0 people will be shocked. But if this keeps up, do you know how much easier it is to catch Gretzky when you can expect at least 30 or 40 goals? Even 25.
Yep.
25, all right, 3 seasons and I'm there. If he's scoring like this, there's a really good chance he never gets there.
One of the things that stands out to me about a season so far is the number of power play goals, which sits at 1.
That's the all-time leader in power play goals.
That's a man who has feasted on the power play more than anybody else in the history of time, and he's been unable to do it this season.
All right, when's the next time the Caps play the Leafs? just so I know when he's busting out of the slump.
When he gets a 4-goal game?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just so I know.
I'll take a look.
Look at it. I don't think it's soon.
Capitals, Leafs.
The Leafs play, I think it's 9 games against the Blue Jackets.
March 20th.
Oh, my God. Well, that's
March 20th, the Leafs are at the Caps.
It's gonna happen.
There you go.
It's gonna happen.
Bring up the Cap schedule, please. Okay. Because I want to know, at some point, I know you're trying to win points in the standings. You need to dedicate a game to getting him a goal.
Yes.
Right? So who do they got coming up?
They got the Islanders, Blue Jackets, back-to-back tonight and tomorrow.
Blue Jackets, second half of a back-to-back. None of you should have the puck at all during that game.
That's a very good point. I think that's the let's try and get Ovechkin going.
And passes to Ovi. Passes to Ovi.
Because
Oshie with it to Ovi.
After Thursday's game against Columbus, you have Tampa, then Christmas break, then the Rangers, Islanders, Preds.
So go into January because, rack up points. Christmas break is coming. You don't want to lose momentum. Man, there are some struggling goalies in that stretch, bud. Look at Pittsburgh.
Jarry's been good.
I know he's been good.
Oh, that's the battle of the Jarry versus Ovechkin goal race. January 2nd.
Jarry has a chance to double his lead.
Let's go.
The Devils.
Let's go.
You can score on the Devils. They're a good team, but you can score on them.
That would be incredible.
Who is going to score more goals?
The Hurricanes.
By January 2nd. Ovi or
Start making
Jarry?
graphics. TNT.
Jarry's currently in the lead.
Wow.
The Hurricanes are there. Oh, January is an interesting opportunity to feast.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at least in terms of scoring goals. I'm not talking about winning hockey games. Pass Ovi the puck. Do you understand? You get him going, you get possibly the greatest goal scorer of all time, one of the best goal scorers alive today. He was still that like a few months ago.
Yes.
And he just suddenly stopped doing that. Dedicate a game to giving the puck to Ovi.
Well, should we put money on Columbus on Thursday? Ovi gets a goal.
No, Columbus is going to have to make a comeback because they just dropped 9 on the Sabres.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So for sure not Columbus.
Yeah,
sure.
You
not
don't think he gets a goal Thursday?
Great night.
I think Steve outlined it well. Second night of a back-to-back, your legs are a little tired, so let's just all stand around and try and feed Ovi against a weaker Columbus team.
He doesn't move anyway. Like the
Do the
Caps.
Columbus Blue Jackets take a lot of penalties?
Not that I'm
Because
aware.
if
I don't
he's
know.
on the power play a lot, you're toast.
Dude, the Caps should have 25 shots in that game, and 23 of them should be from Alexander Ovechkin.
Get him a goal.
I
Get
don't
him
know.
a
I think
fucking goal.
Ovi anytime goal prop against the Blue Jackets might be something we got to look at.
Dude, feed
Put a
him the puck.
$2 Steve on
I
that.
like that.
Feed him the puck. And like at this point, just be like, stand in front. I'll shoot one off your butt.
That's what he means. But like those lucky goals are usually the ones that break you out of slumps, right?
Yep.
Yes. And that's when you go, remember when Marner was in a slump and then he scored 2?
Yeah.
And the first celebration, he went, oh. And then the second celebration, he goes, ah!
Yeah.
And that's Marner. Imagine Ovi.
And Marner didn't go a month without scoring.
Yeah. But Ovi, goals are oxygen. And that dude's turning blue.
But when he starts
Like-
scoring, watch out.
Oh, my God. What does he have, 5? He could easily end the season with 35.
He could have 20 by All-Star break.
No one would be shocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely no one would be shocked. Get him a goal.
Yeah, 5. So
How is this hard? How many assists does he have?
12.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Ovi is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on the Caps in goal scoring. He's tied with Kuzi with 5 goals.
He should
Can
not
you
be
name
6th.
the 4 guys above Kuznetsov and Ovechkin on goal scoring for the Washington Capitals? We'll end the show.
Tom Wilson.
1. He's
TJ Oshie.
He's got 10.
Yeah, Timothy.
Timothy, no. He only has 2 goals.
Kuznetsov.
I just said they were tied.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You weren't listening.
What?
They got 3 more guys to go.
Who's still there?
We can't end the show until you name these
What
3
about John
players.
Carlson?
Incorrect. John Carlson has 1 goal. 14 assists, though.
What? McMichael.
Connor McMichael.
Hey!
6 goals.
There you go. There you go, Steve.
Did you see Tyler Tucker the other day?
Yes.
Got into a
Yes.
fight, and he was a subject of who's that guy? Or
Who he played
who
for.
he played for, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all my mentions blew up.
I love when that. And that was like, it was
Look
like
at him.
2 days after that episode, Tyler Tucker makes news. Like, fuck us. Like,
So
every
funny.
single time.
So funny. Who?
All right, you got 2 guys left. One is the leading goal scorer.
On the Caps.
Yeah.
They've been such a weird team.
We've
this
talked
year.
about him.
Charlie Lindgren.
No,
No,
he was involved in something.
He was involved.
Involved in something.
What was he involved in? What's his name?
Involved in like a fight or a suspension?
An incident.
I am drawing a complete
Me too.
blank.
It was Adam Wilde who incorrectly.
Oh, the rookie. Miroshnichenko. Or
No, it was Adam.
No.
Adam Wilde incorrectly placed this man in a knee-on-knee incident.
Oh, it was Connor. Not Connor. No.
No,
Strom.
the hell
Dylan
is-
Strom.
So Ryan
Strome.
Ryan Strome had the knee-on-knee, and for like 3 minutes into the segment, Adam Wilde kept calling him Dylan Strome.
I know. I know.
But you corrected yourself, and there's one more player, former Detroit Red Wing, now a Cap.
Vrana?
No.
Vrana, that's the other way. Who was the guy that... Mantha?
Mantha?
Anthony Mantha.
I got one.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
The leading goal scorers on the Caps go Dylan Strome with 12, Tom Wilson with 10, Anthony Mantha with 7, Connor McMichael with 6, Kuzi with 5, Ovi with 5.
That's how absolutely cracked Austin Matthews is. If you take the top 2 goal scorers on the Caps and combine them, they'd be 3 goals shy of Matthews.
Unbelievable.
When people say he's not worth his contract, which happens all the time at parties where I'm at, I'm like, you guys, like, I'd have to start from zero. I have to start from the end God created the sun. Enough. He's amazing.
Ryan Strome.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.